How's it going, my fellow parents? Hey, you've heard me say this before. One of my favorite parts, one of the coolest parts about having a podcast is you get to have people that you like, you admire, that make you laugh, that you can learn from to get to know them, to hear their stories, to get insights, to laugh, to enjoy. So we've got one of my favorite social media people here with us today, Simon Holland. What's up, man? How's it going?
Man, it's going great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to do this.
Okay, so many of you have probably seen his work through social media, but probably most of you have never heard his voice, have never even seen his face. And so, because he's an author, he's a writer, here's a little background. I'm gonna tell you a little bit of his bio, and then we're gonna actually share some of his work with you here so you can get to know him, and then we're gonna get to know Simon. Jordan, does that sound like a good plan to you?
Dude, it sounds like a great plan. I mean, it's so fun to like talk to different dads and see their different backgrounds, see what kind of parenting challenges they have. And you see someone on social media and you think they got everything perfect. Like Simon's so great with his comedy. And you're like, man, this guy gets it. He's so good. But what does he really feel like? Like, is it really tough? Is it really light and always comical? So that's what I really want to kind of figure out throughout the day today. So it's going to be fun.
All right, here's a little bit about Simon. He's just a normal dude working to navigate marriage and parenthood and try to have some fun in the process. When he isn't working his full-time job or turning lights off all around the house, he shares sometimes funny observations of everyday life. He shares these thoughts and experiences on social media, where he's amassed over 1 million followers who interact with his content daily. And the thing about his content, guys, is like when he posts something, like it is so funny. It is so good. It gets a lot of views. So Simon, I've been nerding out on ChatGPT a lot. So actually, I did this. I asked the computer, "Who are you?" And I like this little bio. I like this bio. Listen to this. It says Simon Holland is a humor writer and social media personality, best known for his witty takes on parenting, marriage, and everyday life. His relatable one-liners have garnered a substantial following with millions of followers. You're based out of Atlanta. You've got a comedy book that is about to come out. I just saw it on Instagram. On Amazon. So you can pre-order it. What's the name of the book, man?
I don't know that it's quite out yet for pre-order, but yes, there will be a book coming out, and it's called "I Can't Believe We Signed Up for This."
That's so good.
Okay, good. That's excellent. That's the
so
first.
good.
Look at that laugh out loud.
So when your agent and your publisher ask you what you want from the title, my only thing is that I want it to be funny and relatable.
Dude,
so
that is so funny.
That's
See
good. We
that
crushed
reaction
on that.
Jordan and I are gonna read some of your jokes or your one-liners to parents right now, but that's Jordan's that genuine laugh that Jordan you just had. It was loud.
That felt real.
It rang in my ears. That's how I laugh.
Filled my soul.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I saw
relating
that.
it to obviously being a parent, and it's like it's funny because you don't know my background, but what I signed up for was to have a wife and to have a kid, and then God was like, you know what? I'm going to give you 2 kids at once. So here's twins, and you're still in your 20s. I'm like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. So doctor, I ordered 1. And then we were like, okay, I'm going to have another kid. And then God was like, all right, we're going to have this kid have Down syndrome. Here you go. I'm like, dude, I didn't sign up for this. Like, what is this in my life right now?
That's right. It can be a lot. It can be a lot.
Okay, so all right, Jordan. I asked Jordan to read some of your work, man, and come up with some of his favorite things that you post. And
Dude,
yeah.
So in my life right now, I've got 11 and 11-year-old, 2 11-year-olds, and a 6-year-old. And this one, I was just scrolling through. There's so much good one-liners you have, but one of them which like it relates. Like everyone has practice, so we can either have dinner at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 9 o'clock at night, which is so true because you're like, I got to go here. I'm a dang Uber driver during the week. How am I going to have time to eat? And so what I love about your one-liners, it's like we've all been there. Right? We've all done this, but we've never really written it down. I think you do a great job at doing that, man.
Right.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we just try to, just capture a little bit of the essence of what it is to be a parent these days.
Yeah.
And put something out there that everybody can kind of relate to. So, yeah, that one is, I mean, my kids are a little bit older now, but yeah, I wrote that when we were right in the throes of, what are we doing for dinner? I don't know. I mean, we're booked out from like 5:30 to 9.
Yeah.
So dinner is going to just be whatever it is,
So true.
All right.
Sean, you got one that you picked out?
I have a lot. I'm just going to have to teeter them down. Otherwise, we'll just be telling jokes for, the whole time and not even get to know Simon. All right. My wife is mad at me because she got an 89 on my daughter's science quiz.
Because she got the 89. Dude, that's so true. It's like you talk about ChatGPT, Sean. It's like we got to go to ChatGPT to figure out how to do dang fractions for my kids because I'm like, I forget how to do that stuff.
Seriously, dude. Okay, you want to go again? You want me to go, Jordan?
No, go one more time.
Okay, ready? Okay. Middle school. This is a joke about middle school fashion. Ready? I hope my friends don't find out I own a jacket. Middle schoolers.
You'd rather freeze.
What is that, man?
You'd rather freeze than bring a dang jacket to school.
The hoodie is my jacket, Dad.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, how about this one? How about all right? I got a job at Comcast and completed training, so I could fix my own cable because it was faster than being on hold with customer service.
Oh my gosh, that is so frustrating, right?
Yeah.
All right, last one I have for you, Simon, is I think my wife can relate because I'll go on and I'll look on our credit card statement and I'm like, $299 a month for Apple storage, $299 a month for Gmail storage. Why are we buying all this storage? And you wrote, just had to increase my Gmail storage to make room for all the emails from my kids' schools reminding me to order the yearbook. It's like, we're good.
My gosh. Okay.
But we never know. That's the thing about that one is, like, my wife orders the yearbook before the year even starts. And then all year long is like, did we order the yearbook?
Right.
Did I order a yearbook? Like, you get the reminder and
Yeah.
it doesn't say like, you're good, we got your receipt. It just says, hey, don't forget to order your yearbook.
Okay. Now, if you follow his content, you know that one of his most popular genres is the rival dad content. Now, if you are a man, if you're a dad, then you definitely get every single thing he writes. And if you're not a man or a dad, you may not understand it, so you have to kind of put yourself into a place. But all right, this one is, if you know, you know. Here it comes. Ready? Ask a rival dad if he likes his vehicle, and then tell him you're considering getting one for your daughter when she turns 16. Dude. Absolutely brutal.
Dude, you would hate that because Sean just got this new truck. He's got this awesome vehicle. He thinks he's Mr. Cool driving around this big room. And can you imagine, Sean, if a rival dad came up to you and said that, you would be livid.
Okay. I'm gonna get one. Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's cute. That's cute.
Cute-
Yeah, I'm gonna
cute
get one for my
truck.
daughter
Yeah.
when she's 16.
Right.
You're like, what?
She's thinking about it. It's in her,
Okay.
she's narrowing it down. It's up there in potentials.
All right, this one. Ready? Early morning hiking invitation goes like this. Asked a bunch of rival dads if anyone wants to go hiking with me tomorrow morning at 5. Of course, they all said no.
Right. Of course not.
Just sending a message. Okay, I got 2 more. Marriage. This is about marriage. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here's a marriage tip. If you need a new can opener, just get a new can opener. Don't give one to your wife for Christmas.
That sounds personal.
That was good.
Look, it looks like, the shape of a can opener fits in a stocking well.
Yeah.
So logic would say, oh, here's a good thing. No, just get a can opener.
All right, I just
That's not a
I
present.
couldn't help but laugh out loud, very loud, when I read this, my last one. Made it to that level of marriage where you get in trouble for being able to fall asleep so fast.
Dude, we are all there.
My gosh, how did you know?
How can you fall
How do you
asleep
know?
so fast?
Right. Like, honestly, I went to a car show on Saturday with the whole family and the in-laws. And, we got to take a break through the middle of the car show. We're on the grass. We're just chilling. I'm like, this is a good time for me to take a little nap action. So I just
Midday.
Midday, I'm on the grass. I just close my eyes, and the whole family's just talking, roasting me while I'm trying to take a nap. And it's like, it's like I just offended them. It's like I just what? What am I doing? It's like I just did the worst thing in the world by just dozing off a little bit on a Saturday afternoon.
Simon.
Do you not care?
Right.
Do you not have things to worry about? Like, that's,
Right. And it just shows
it's time to go to bed. I fall asleep. My wife is like, okay, what do I need to worry about?
I know. I guess
What's-
we know how to
what's
turn it
going on?
off, which can be complicated when you have the husband-wife duo. I got to ask you though, these one-liners that they're funny. You tweet them out, looks like, and then they go on all different platforms, and a lot of people relate to what you're saying. do they come to you in the moment, some of these comedic sentences, or is it more of like like you're a writer, your thought process, you actually sit down and think about it?
Most of them just come right out. Most of them come out in the moment. The way that it all happened was Twitter, which is so easy to just kind of like, it's whatever they used to call it, a microblog. You can just put down a thought in no time. And for a pretty good while, I didn't have a whole lot of followers on Twitter. So if I wrote something and it felt clunky, and maybe it wasn't getting much traction, I might just delete it and then rewrite it and post it the next day. And sometimes I'll put stuff in a notes section, but I would say 95% of the content is just right from the hip.
All right, how about this? Okay, so this is an interesting question. I've been wondering this. Do you say these things out loud? And are you known by your friends and family as like being a jokester, funny? Or is it like you just have a gift for writing comedy humor? Are you which one is it? Like, are you going around just making these snarky comments and people are laughing, your family's laughing, or rival dads are laughing, or is like, no, I just keep these in and I write them down when I feel like it?
No, I'd say them out loud most of the time. Now, growing up, I was the kid in the back of the class that would say the snarky comment, and then the more confident, like better looking kid would say it like way louder and get all the laughs. And I would be like, that's the joke that I just told him, And then I guess I got a little more confident about it. I mean, I don't shout them out, but people know that, like, if we're at if you were at a baby shower or a kid's 6th birthday party or some kind of thing, and if they want to hang around me, then there's a good chance I might say something maybe funny, maybe inappropriate, maybe snarky or whatever. But I tend to, and it's another kind of testing ground, right? Like if I get in the wild, real life laughs about something, I'll go, oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I'll just kind of think like that might be something good to explore. It may not be exactly what it turns out to be the way it's written, but the topic or the idea,
cool, man,
would be that way.
I want to ask you kind of a personal question here. Me and Sean talk about it all the time, how it's like, from a guy's perspective, being a parent, it could be frustrating, it could be really hard, it could be sad, it could be fun, it could be all these adjectives to describe it. But you wouldn't maybe necessarily know that from us because all we're going to do is joke around about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're with a bunch of dads at a barbecue, you're making fun of each other for something that could be very serious, but you poke fun at each other, right? Yeah. And so like with your comedy, it's a lot like that for us. It's like, we'll make fun of a dad down the street because he got his kid went to school late, or his kid got in an accident. His kid's fine, and we'll joke around with him about it. But it's like this sense of like macho thing. So, do you ever have vulnerable moments where you're like, man, I need to be real for a second? Or do you think it's better for us dads to be vulnerable in this comedic way because we don't know how to be vulnerable in like a real life way?
Well, I mean, humor's a coping mechanism, right? I mean, it probably always has been. So, and I think that's okay. I mean, I think it's okay to make light about some things because it makes it easier to handle them. But I would say I'm a big champion of, a little bit unlike the way that it was as I grew up with my dad, but it's okay for dads to feel feelings, right? It's all right for us to be vulnerable and to talk about things, whether it's with your kids or with your spouse or even with your bros sometimes. And I will tell you that it's not, with your bros especially, is not always the easiest. Like you don't get there the quickest.
Right.
But if you have had some of those conversations with other men in your life that got kind of real, I mean, it can be pretty powerful stuff. Like it can really be cathartic. It can, and I joke about, rival dads it's every dad. I mean, my best buddies are still rival dads, but below that surface of just kind of, busting balls and stuff is, for the closest ones, I'd like to think there's the ability to kind of get real and talk about, what all of this, is. And I think there's a strong movement, of dads to be a little more, I think I coined the phrase a while back, to be a little more of a full contact dad, and a little less just dad goes to work and comes home from work and maybe has dinner with the family, but that's about it. But, I mean, look, we only get one time to be on this planet and to do this, and I want to soak it all up.
Yeah.
And I want
So
to
true.
be
Heck
the
yeah,
dad, and I want to do the dads and donuts at the school, and I want to know your teacher's name. I may forget it, but I want to, I want to get I want to do that with everything in life, right? I try to be cognizant about that, but parenting especially. And my girls are older now. And it really does go by fast. No matter what you think, when somebody tells you that when your kids are little and you're like, yeah, I wish this part would go over fast. But it does. And, I want to make sure that I really squeeze every bit out of it, because it's fun as hell.
Man.
I love
Amen to
being a
that,
dad.
man.
Yeah, well said.
Even the hard parts, the hard parts, I'll take it, because it makes the better parts.
I totally
even
agree.
better.
Yeah, it's in those hard parts and those struggles and our kids' mistakes and our mistakes. Like, that's where you can really grow. You can really bond. You can really be like, hey, we went through this together, and we got through it together as a family. We didn't ignore it. We didn't just pretend it wasn't there. So yeah, man, tell us a little bit. You got 18-year-old and you got 14-year-old. You're a girl dad of 2. Tell us what's that little bit of like insight into your home. What do you enjoy about parenting? What are some of the hardest parts for you about parenting, or pain points? Some of the greatest joys? Tell us little insights.
Sure. I mean, I'll tell you this. So I've been a dad for 18 years. I've had 2 daughters for 14 years. Man, I feel like I was born to be a dad of girls. I love it.
Nice.
I freaking love it. I mean, and I'm around boys too. They're great, but I mean, and I think that maybe not all dads are. So I like to think that I'm a little bit special in that way.
Yeah.
That my favorite parts of being able to connect with these kids and to do all of those things. I mean, we've had one away at school all year, so that's been a little bit of an adjustment. It's like it's not quite empty nest, but it definitely, you downshift in terms of how busy you are and things like that. Man, we try to do a bunch of stuff together. We try to eat dinner together as often as we're all under the same roof. We try to value the time that we get to spend together. We will go out and do stuff. I mean, my youngest and my wife and I went and saw a movie this weekend together. We'll go to dinner. We'll go get frozen yogurt. I mean, I like
That's
that
good.
they like to hang out. And now they have their friends and they go out and do stuff with their friends and, and things like that. But I genuinely think that they dig hanging out with us.
Wow.
And that's really cool.
So that's success right there. That's like a dream. One of my favorite parenting memes of all time shows this dad who's in the band Slayer. The picture was taken like in the 90s, and he's all just in his heavy metal gear, and he's all dressed like a hardcore rocker, and he's there with like his 4 kids, and his teenage daughter is caught like looking at him like he's so disgusting, like he's the biggest nerd ever, like I'm ashamed to be with this guy. And then the little meme says something like this, like, if this girl thinks her dad's a dork, then there's no hope for any of us. Something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that guy's so freaking cool.
So, like, do your kids think you're funny? Do they think your humor is funny? Or is it like dad jokes? Here we go again. It's like, right? Because what are your thoughts on that?
It's a really fine line,
Okay.
right? I mean, I wouldn't say, I think my kids are like, they like hanging out. They like being with us. They like me. They're but I will
Cringe.
I definitely give them the ick sometimes.
Yeah.
The cringe moments, and it's typically when I will, because I am online a lot, and I'll see the slang and the things that they, are talking about, or this or that, and that when I start to kind of bleed into their realm, I use a word like Riz or something like that. They're like, oh my God, dude, just, they're like, stop trying to be a try hard dad.
Oh, try hard dad.
But That's the thing though. They'll take credit for some of the content. Most dads are embarrassing, and I get that, but also having a bunch of followers on Instagram it's just kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a thing we never thought we would want to be when we grew up, but kids today are like, yeah, I want to be an influencer, just like I wanted to be a baseball player, you know? So that is inherently cool. Like, my dad has this many followers. Now, you're going to think some of the jokes are stupid, and then ones that you think are funny, I told him those, you know, like they'll take some ownership for it. But yeah, I definitely I give them some cringeworthy moments, which I think is helpful.
I have a two-part question. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Will you really quick, just so our listeners can understand what kind of followers we're talking about? Do you have an idea? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what you got?
Yeah, Instagram would be the biggest. It's probably like 750,000 ish.
That's big.
Twitter and
Do you do
Facebook
TikTok?
are probably. I don't do any TikTok. Too much work.
Okay.
For
Yep,
now.
okay.
Even
And
Twitter probably around 200,000 maybe. Facebook maybe 300,000.
These are big numbers, dude.
Yeah,
These are really big numbers.
And I would say, and I've heard from some other folks, like the stuff that I post, like, it gets shared a lot.
It does.
It's healthy humor.
So
it's
it
not
gets
bad.
it
It's
gets
healthy
out
humor.
there outside of just going. Like, you don't have to go to my Instagram. A lot of people just will scroll their normal Facebook feed or
And see
Instagram
someone
feed, and they'll
sharing
see stuff that's from me because it gets shared that way, and because it's relatable, because it's G-rated. I made a conscious effort, a long time ago when I started doing this, to I'm not gonna talk about stuff that alienates people. There's no reason to use bad language or blue humor, because the dream would be that somebody backs up a Brinks truck and wants to pay me millions of dollars for all of this. And so, it's better to create content that, as far as I can tell, just about everybody really loves. I did a pharmacy joke one time and pissed off a bunch of pharmacists, but
Oh, jeez. Like, I can't. I bet it's so hard not to try to not offend anyone. That's like impossible these days.
It's tough.
But what I wanted to get to is, like, how helpful this content can be, sharing it, getting someone to chuckle, right? The book title was hilarious. Some of the stuff we scroll through, I'm like, gosh, it's so true. But you also know the dangers that are coming out with social media and all the stats that are coming out with this. So being a girl dad, how do you protect your girls from it, especially when they're like, well, Dad, you do it. What age did you feel comfortable with letting your kids have a social media account? Will you get vulnerable and talk to us a bit about that?
It's tough, right? So my kids have Instagram now.
Okay.
Neither one of them really post much at all. My oldest daughter is a little bit more often now. She's in college, right? So, I mean, we're okay with that. I don't know. We always really kind of treated social media, and even though I would post a lot of content, as something that was a little more about viewing and not so much about communicating. Like, I don't, like, I post stuff and it might get thousands of comments, but I'm not in the comments.
You're not. Why not?
Back and forth.
Why not? Why aren't you in the comments? I'm
yeah,
not in the comments
right.
either that much, because it's just why aren't you? It's just a lot of reasons, but why aren't you in your comments?
It's just, well, I mean, it's a time suck.
It's a time suck, yeah.
But it's also, man, there are people out there that just, the keyboard warriors are just out there to, try to bait you into some kind of, something. And
The kids
then
call
burn
them
you for it,
trolls.
right? Yeah.
There's some trolls
So
out there.
Yeah, the trolls.
we try to be really careful about it. We try to treat it as a thing that is a life enhancement, but not a life driver.
Okay. Yeah.
So we talk about that sometimes, and we talk about how fake it all is.
So
And I think
good.
that's super important,
good.
to just like, look, we had the privilege of growing up without this, but at the same time, I can look back and go, man, if I had the opportunity to curate an online persona and image of myself, it would have been cooler than who I actually was.
Yeah, right.
And so that's tough, right? Because there can be some benefit of that. It can open some doors for you. I could have maybe talked to a prettier girl at a certain point in time or something like that. But also, it's not false, but it's fake a lot of times. And we try to make
good.
sure everybody is just kind of on board with knowing that like you're only seeing this small sliver of somebody, and there's all the rest of their life that's there, that you only see what they choose to let you see, which is fine. But you just have to remember that there's more out there, and be careful about it.
Just on that same point, I've learned a lot, Simon, about parenting from reading my comments. I get a lot of negativity on my comments, a lot of hate. Just people calling me names. People say, like, you're the reason why kids are so soft. You're the reason why this gentle, nice crap doesn't work with my kids. Like, they make fun of me. They say all these things because my kind of thing is I just like to post a lot of positive, uplifting comments. But it's really helpful reading these comments because I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that's, how people think, or, oh, I didn't know that's how that came off. Like one time I made a video that kind of gave off this vibe about how to deal with like tattletaling. And the kind of vibe was just like, don't buy into it. Like, don't support it. Like, don't like give your kids an avenue to support tattletaling.
Right.
And man, the comments blew up, and it was like, hey, my sister used to bully me to death. My brother used to beat the crap out of me, and my parents did this. My parents never protected me from my siblings, and my parents were never there. They were always drinking. They were always doing that. I was like, wow, like I've learned so much about like people from nasty comments or from just being a content creator. Tell us a couple things that you've learned about like, being a creator, about parenting, about social media, about like just all that stuff, because your life, it's like a special life that you live.
You definitely learn that even though I can create content that is really relatable, it doesn't mean that we all have the same lives. It means we deal with a lot of the same things, but man, we all come from different backgrounds or different situations, and I do have to remember that what I might joke about could be a real struggle for someone else, and I don't want to undervalue what they might be going through or what that is. Some things are just funny, and I'm gonna make a joke about it no matter what, and that is, and I'll just let the chips land wherever they may. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely recognized that there's some value in a different perspective, and just remembering that we're not all coming from the same place, and some people have had they have a whole different life of things that have led up to where they are, and different experiences that shape them, and
Speaking of that, I firmly believe that like if you choose to believe that life is happening for you instead of like to you, it could help you, right? Even in the tough times, like, man, this is going to be good for me because later I'm going to learn this. If you could do that in the moment, it could really help you get through those moments. Sometimes we don't do it till 20 years later and be like, man, that was such a hard time, but I'm really glad I went through it because I learned blah, 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 blah. And so for you, you're taking this dadhood and and really like running with it in terms of a life, a career, a jokester, being out there on social media. What was your life like before you had kids and are at this stage? And then what helped you to propel you to where you are now? Why did you decide to create a shift and do what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I mean, I've got a regular job. I work remotely, but I'm, every day, there have been some success here, but not quite enough yet to pay all of the bills and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I was always, I always liked to laugh. I always liked to tell stories that made people laugh. I think Seinfeld talks about like, it's for some people making someone laugh is like being able to breathe, like it is the thing that gives you life. And I've always been that way. It just, that's what fills my tank, is being able to make people laugh. So I started writing a blog long time ago. That would have been like 2007 when those were kind
was it a
of
comedy
popular
blog
thing,
about
right?
Family, marriage?
It was just about parenting.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Cool. It's still out there. I won't tell you where it is, but if you search,
it's on MySpace.
Yeah, it's. And then I started just trying to promote the blog, right? Because at that time, parent bloggers, mommy bloggers, or whatever, they were finding some success in that, and so I started promoting it on Twitter, which I quickly learned was just a vacuum. I mean, I had like 10 followers, and I didn't even know who 9 of them were. So you would post something and nothing would happen. And then eventually I started following other people that I thought were funny. Instead of posting a link to my blog, I would just take an idea from what I wrote about, and I would condense that all the way down into 120 characters, which was the old Twitter limit. And then those started to get traction. In fact, this picture here, I started a company a while back before I wrote the book called Bear on a Bicycle Creative. My first ever viral tweet was I accidentally played dad instead of dead when I encountered a bear, and now it can ride a bicycle without training wheels. So my wife got that for me.
That's so cool.
To remember that. And then I just started, I was like, man, this is great.
Yeah.
I like writing in this short form, and it feels good, and people are into it. Then I started seeing my jokes being stolen all the time. And being posted on Facebook, and they would, crop out my name or put it in different font. So I'm wary to claim this, but I am 99% sure that I originated the whole idea of taking a screen capture of your tweet and just using that as the meme.
Oh, really?
That's just what I started doing.
That's
I was
so
like,
big
this
nowadays.
has my name. It's got my picture on it.
Yeah.
This will be a thing. And so I started putting them on Facebook. And then I started an Instagram account and started doing it that way. And it was like the least labor intensive way to take a joke that I had already made on Twitter and put it somewhere else. And then, I think a lot of people recognize that format, and you see a lot of other people doing it.
That's cool.
But then things just kind of snowballed. So it was cool.
Our last question for you is going to be just if you just give us some parenting tips. Like if somebody is parenting out there, they want to be a good parent, they want to be close to their kids, like they want to have what you have. But before you answer that question, I want to talk about something else before we go. Is that okay? Because I think this is funny. I don't know if anyone else thinks it's funny, but I think it's hilarious. So this is me trying to be funny.
What is it?
So Simon, my wife my wife's really into fashion, home decor. She just has a good eye for things. So occasionally she'll be like, "Oh my gosh, so what did you think about that girl's purse?" Or, "Hey, did you like her shoes?" I was like,
dude, I can't even recognize when my wife cuts her hair. I can't recognize this stuff.
What are you talking about, purse? I wasn't looking at a purse.
Right.
Her shoes? Well, did you at least notice her dress? I was like, no. What are you talking about? I know that there's a new Korean barbecue place that was opening right behind her. That's what I was thinking about. Then I realized reading your humor, this whole concept of rival dads. So as women, they might be looking at each other's purses or their makeup. We're looking at each other. We're looking at what you're driving. Right. We're looking at your lawn. I'm looking at that hat. I'm looking at how clean those white shoes are. Do you keep your shoes clean? I'm looking at oh my gosh. And there's no really term for it. That's why this term rival dad is so great. And here, listen to this, everybody. This is the part that I thought was funny. We just found out that these two, Jordan and Simon, they live in the same city in Georgia. They're literally
our rival dads.
And then we found that on the air when we were just chatting before we hit recording. So Simon might have seen Jordan rolling up or looking. He was like, "Oh, look at that guy. Look at that rival over there." Right? That's funny.
That's so true.
I thought it was
so
funny.
funny. It's so ironic. It's so ironic.
Swing by and check and see if you got some crispy diagonal lines in the lawn or not.
Oh yeah, I know,
see
right?
what we're dealing with.
It's so funny.
I think sometimes, and my wife and I talk about this, guys, we have a way we can be rival dads and joke about that stuff, and it's pretty light. I can say the most heinous, mean stuff to my best friend, completely emasculate him in front of people, and he'll just think it's hilarious, right? And it doesn't, but I just don't. Rival moms is a little more real. It's just a little more real. So it doesn't hit quite as light sometimes. And I think that's understandable, right? I mean, the whole the nurturing and being the one that brings someone into the world. And here's the thing. for all of my life and all of my dad's life and media and social media and everything just expects dads to do the absolute least.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
bar
it
is so low.
Right.
Anytime you just show up for anything, they're like, "Oh my
I know.
God, you know, look
believe
at that.
it. Yeah.
That's so great. That dad knows
Yeah.
what size shoes his kids wear." And then for a mom, it's like, we need you to work 60 hours a week. You need to raise the kids.
Good point, man.
You know, you've got to help them with their homework. You've got to help them through their emotional crises. You've got to be all of these things. So whatever the patriarchy or whatever it might be, dads are puffed up to feel great, and moms are constantly beaten down like they're not doing enough. So
No, it's sad.
I think the rival dad thing becomes easy, but the rival mom thing gets a bit,
Well
a bit
said.
touchy.
Let me just compliment you, man. Like I knew I decided to have you on because I love your humor, but also, of course, I noticed that you don't swear. You have like really good PG rated humor that just is for everybody. But I just want to compliment you, man. Your heart for people,
thank you.
For your family, for your wife, for just like you just seem like a really great guy. I can see you're just a great guy to your kids and to your friends. And you just seem like a type of guy that everyone would want to be friends with. Like you're a really loyal, good man, but you're also probably hilarious to go and watch the Masters with. And so I just want to share
It's
that, man. And
such a small flex, isn't it? But I mean, I had it on, so I could have done
It is a flex.
I could have done the whole interview like this. But then some rival dad that didn't get to go wouldn't realize that I went. So it's super subtle, right? But I went ahead and
It's
sat
super
back.
subtle. Like I'm going on a podcast.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
no
recorded.
big deal.
Honey, where's my Masters hoodie?
Exactly.
I need it. Where is it? I need it for the podcast. It's gonna be on YouTube.
It's so pathetic, but also I will claim
No,
that
it's a little
100%.
flex.
though.
You
I
got it.
will
man.
say, back to the original question. I know that we're getting short on time. For new dads that are starting out, I mean, be a good person. Be focused on that. Your kids learn from you, and they learn from watching you. So, that's like number one. Be the kind of person that you would be proud of if you were your own dad. And then the other part is just, man, we're all going to screw up. We're all going to make mistakes. You just complimented me for being PG, but I know that I said a cuss word earlier in this conversation. I don't remember what it was. But sometimes I do. It's not that big of a deal. I tell my kids they're just words. It's just sounds. But I recognize that it offends some people, so I try not to. But just, we're going to mess up sometimes, and that's all right. But get your heart right and keep it right, and let people know, let people see that. And then just, man, try to soak it all up, because it really, the good, the bad, all of it. The bad makes the good better, and the good is awesome. So embrace all of it, and just, man, we get this life, and it's whatever we decide. I tell my girls before any event, before any kind of day, I coached my daughter playing travel softball. So I would tell the whole
cool.
team for years. And I would say, man, today it's going to be whatever you guys decide.
Yeah, we're in charge.
If we decide it's going to be awesome, then we're going to have an awesome day. It doesn't matter if we get the doors beat in and we lose these games. But if you guys decide right now that we're going to have a blast today, we're going to be competitive and we're going to love it, then we will. You guys all decide you'd rather be somewhere else, doing something else, and this is not, then it's going to suck.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
And that's going to translate. And we just talk about trying to attack every day like that, man. Just have the mindset of, this day will be as good as I decide to let it be.
I love it. Love it.
I don't know if we'll do this. If there was like a little catchphrase under this podcast title, it'd be like Simon Holland, the good man behind the great tweets, something like that, man. Because you just have a great heart, and your tweets and your posts are absolutely incredible and
Can't wait for that book to
inspirational
come
and
out,
laugh out
man.
loud funny.
Thank
So
you,
yeah,
I
man, the
appreciate
book.
that.
You're right. So yeah, it's published by
I'll
Hatchet
come back
Book.
if you will have me.
Yeah.
Once it's out and available and we've got all of that, then we'll come do another one and maybe.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, hit me up. I can't believe we signed up for this. Simon Holland, man, thanks for hanging out with Jordan
Appreciate
and
it.
I. And thanks for all that you do to support us parents in everyday life, keep us entertained and laughing, and keep up the good work, man.
Thanks, guys. It's been awesome. Appreciate you.